So I want to start today with understanding Mordechai HaYehudi. Mordechai HaYehudi was very unpopular at the time of the Megillah. People didn't like him so much. We think that he was very popular. It's not true. You can imagine everybody was very scared of Ahasuerus and of his head man called Haman. And you have one Jew who decides that he's not going to be Korea, he's not going to bow down, and he's not going to be Mishtahabeh. To who? To Haman. Where was Haman from? Amalek. He's not going to bow down to Amalek. Where did Mordechai get this koah? Where did Mordechai get this strength to tell Haman, I'm sorry, I am not going to bow down and I'm not going to subjugate myself to you. Everyone was against him. They said, the whole generation's going to die. How can you do this? And he's going to lose his job. He's going to lose his parnasah. Which inner strength, what I'm asking is like this, which inner strength did Mordechai draw from to be able to withstand his nisayon, to be able to withstand this challenge? And if we know that, we'll be able to apply it in our lives. So I'm going to start like this. This week was Parashat Zachor. We read about Amalek. Amalek was the first enemy of the Jews. Reshit Goyim Amalek. When you talk about first, it means they paved the way. They paved the path to all the other enemies. And when we talk about the Reshit, the beginning of the Jews, that paves the path for us. So what's the beginning of all Goyim? What does that represent? And what's the beginning of the Jews? So let's start with what's the beginning of the Jews. It says in the Gemara like this. Dedabe kulabe. If you have it, you have everything. Deled bemabe. If you don't have it, you have nothing. Dakanit mahasad. If you bought this, you're not missing anything. Dahasad. If you're missing this, makanita. What did you buy? What is this commodity? Is it gold? Is it silver? No. It's da'at. It's knowledge. If you have knowledge, you have everything. If you don't, you have nothing. Amalek is the opposite of that. What is Amalek? Amalek's numerical value is the same numerical value as the word safek. Safek means doubt. You see, what was Amalek's art? We had da'at, we had knowledge that Hashem hu Elokim, and it was clear. It wasn't 99%, and it wasn't 99.5%. It was 100% clarity that Hashem hu Elokim. You see, when a person has 100% conviction about something, you can't move him. I know myself, when I don't have a strong position in what I want to teach my child, let's say I don't want him to go to this certain area. If I'm wishy-washy in my mind about it, he can negotiate with me. He knows that. But if I'm 100% sure, he knows there's nothing to negotiate. He says, no, you're not going. There's nothing to do, because it's clear by me. It was clear to us that we are Am Hashem, and it was clear to all of the nations of the world after we left Mitzrayim that Hashem is with us. The people of Canaan were scared. Moab was scared. All of the nations were scared. What did Amalek do? They saw this and they jumped in. They didn't say, well, you're not right. They just wanted to put a doubt in people's minds. Make it 95% sure that there's Hashem is with the Jewish people. We want to create a doubt. What do you accomplish by creating a doubt? You accomplish everything, because then nobody's sure anymore. It doesn't become a clarity that stands and withholds the test of time. You see, Amalek, what are they compared to? They're compared to somebody who had a very hot bath. Nobody wants to touch the hot bath. You throw somebody inside and say, oh, it cooled down the bath. That was Amalek. Amalek cooled down the battle. Beforehand, the Jewish people were considered invincible. Everybody looked at them that Hashem was with them. Amalek comes along, he's like, it's not that bad. It's really not that terrible. What Amalek accomplished in doing was creating a doubt in people's minds. When we have a doubt in our mind about an emunah, it's not something that's rock solid by us, and it could be swayed in a moment of sufferings, in a moment of challenge, in a moment of difficulty. For example, if I know that without tefillah to Hashem, without praying to Hashem, I'm not going to receive my beracha. No matter what, if it's so clear to me that I have to pray to Hashem, it doesn't matter if I have a wedding that day, if I have 3 dentist appointments, if I have to run around doing the shopping, whatever else, I'll find time to do my tefillah. Why? Because it's a non-negotiable must by me. It has to be done. When something has to be done, then there's no 2 ways about it. That's why my job is I solicit people to come and learn. That's what I do. I call people. So people say, Rabbi, I'm sorry, I don't have the time. You see, they think that's an excuse to me, but that doesn't enter my ears. I don't even understand that, because there's no such thing as you don't have time. For me, it's a must that you have to be here and learn at least once a week. You have to. So what do you mean? You don't have time. I don't know. By me, it's a must. You have to eat, you have to breathe, you have to sleep, you have to pray, you have to learn. So that's why it doesn't enter. If I tell them, hey John, you got to come with me to the hockey game. And you say, no, I can't. Listen, I got to do homework with the kids. I'm not going to fight with him because he doesn't have to go to a hockey game. But for learning, for me, it's clear. And if a person feels it's clear for them that they have to do something, they do it, no matter what. When the going gets tough, they'll still do it because it's a must. And that's what we have da'at. If we have da'at, knowledge of what is important, we do it. If it's not so important to us, it's a safek, it's Amalek, says the Sefer Enei Yisrael, then we just have doubts. And once we have doubts, we'll believe in Hashem or we'll pray, but when the going gets tough, maybe it'll go in the back shelf, and whenever, this person is not going to look that it's so popular to us, so it won't be so important to us. Whenever there's going to be challenges, it won't be something that has to happen, so it won't happen. That's Amalek. It says in the Pasuk that we have to fight Amalek midor dor, generation. The first generation that we had to fight after the original Amalek was in the generation of Shemuel and Shaul. In the time that Shaul was supposed to kill the king Agag and he didn't. And Shemuel had to kill him. What's the next door? Mordechai Esther. That means Amalek wasn't just a peripheral, a tangential part of history of Mordechai Esther. It was the focus of getting rid of doubts. Because we were at a time, think about it, at a point in history, it was the first time that the Jewish people as a collective nation were outside of their land. Ever since they came into Eretz Yisrael, the first Bet, the prophets, the first Bet HaMikdash. The first Bet HaMikdash was destroyed. We got kicked out and we went to Babel and Persia and whatever else. We were all very vulnerable. We started having doubts. Is Hashem really with us in a foreign land? Is Hashem really? We started having doubts. When we start having doubts, Amalek comes. That's what happened by Har Sinai. It says in the Pasuk, where did we fight Amalek? In which area? Refidim. Why Refidim? Because it comes from the word Rafu. We became weak. Rafu yadehem min Torah. We became weak. Amalek comes. So too, by the time Mordechai Esther, we became weak in our emunah. Haman came. Amalek comes. How do we conquer that? A conviction. Knowing that we're right in what we are doing, that means everything. Okay, so did you have a question? Yeah.
The first Hamalek is from Esau.
Yes.
The grandson of Esau, Eliphaz, was his birth to Amalek. So it started with Esau and
Right.
Jacob.
Yes.
Now, what I wanted to ask you is this. In the time when the Israel came out from Egypt and all the nations saw the mighty strength of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and everything, Amalek was very daring to come and attack this nation that was in the right way.
Of course.
Now, there is a contradiction. If they were not, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, if the Jews are not in the right way, he's going to send out Amalek. So, were they not in the right way?
Yes. They became weak in Torah, and that's why Amalek came.
But the Torah...
They were in Refidim. The Torah did, and this is exactly what I'm explaining now. Why did Amalek come right after we got the Torah? Imagine we were on a high, because it became to us, okay, the Torah is important, but is it a must in our life? We didn't treat it that way. Rafu yadehem, our hands became a little bit weak in our commitment. That's what it says in the Rashi. Our hands became weak in commitment, even though it was right after Har Sinai, but we didn't show the ultimate 100% commitment that we were supposed to show, and understand that Torah is not just a nice thing. It's our bread and water of life. And because of that, Amalek came. So, yes.
If Hashem says that if we are not in the right way, He will send Amalek. But then, I heard that the Holocaust was not a free choice. It was given by God. Now,
everything was given by Hashem.
all right. Now, so Hitler, who is Amalek, came to us. Does that mean that we are at fault because we were not in the right way?
The Holocaust is a subject on its own, and every point
I just want to ask.
every point in history that we had, and every point in history that we had, there's always a question, what did we do to deserve the Inquisition, which was a very horrible thing in itself, and the Crusades, and the pogroms, and the Holocaust.
And the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah, and the Inquisition. All of these tremendous challenges were obviously something that we were also lacking in. What is it? We're not prophets to know. We're not prophets to know. But there was obviously some type of retribution, and sometimes innocent people are swayed into that as well. But these are things that are so beyond us that it requires us to take our great emunah and say whatever Hashem does, He knows how He's running the master plan. It's like somebody walks in the middle of an operation of somebody who has a tremendous infection in his foot, and the doctor is cutting off his leg. So what are you doing? You're cutting his leg. But he doesn't know that saving the person's life. We don't know. We just walk in the middle of the story. Only at the end of time, the great puzzle is going to come together. That requires the great emunah. So whenever we came to a state of weakening, Amalek came. Now, Mordechai knew that he was right, not 99%, 100% right. He knew that he wasn't supposed to be bowing down to Haman. And he followed through on his conviction. And because he followed through on his conviction, we had all the Hatzalah and all of the Seder, but nobody would have anticipated such a thing. But his conviction led him to that way. I want to tell you three stories. I want to tell you three stories. One of them that happened in the 70s, one of them that happened in the 80s, and one of them that happened last week. The first happened a month or two after the revolution in Iran. You know, it was the Shah who was in charge of Iran, and he was secular and open and very friendly to the Jews. And he considered himself a continuation of the legacy of Koresh, the son of Esther, that helped build the Bet HaMikdash. He would even sign in his documents that way and his stamps that way. And Iran was progressing, and they were getting along nicely. But the Islamic republic and the imams, they were very unhappy with the Shah. So they incited the crowd to overturn the Shah. And they were Shiite Muslims, where the Shah was a Sunni, I believe. And they basically took over the whole Iran, and they kicked the Shah out. And Ayatollah Khomeini took over, and he wasn't a very nice man. He was a very tough person. His son, the one right now, Ayatollah Khomeini, is even worse. And he was a very big anti-Semite and very tough person. So part of their revolution was that this was one of the turning points of the revolution, is that there used to be the U.S. Embassy was on beautiful grounds by Tehran. They bought it for a very good deal, and then people were jealous. What did they do? And they saw the Americans, they're the symbol of the West. They went and the students jumped over the fence, and they took 52 American hostages. 52 American hostages. And the world was watching this. And it was going to see how America was going to react. The UN with negotiations, were able to secure that 50 representatives were going to visit, a group of representatives were going to visit these hostages to see if they're actually doing okay and they're being treated fine. 3 priests were going to be allowed and 1 rabbi, because among the 52 hostages there was 3 Jews. There's 3 Jews. So which rabbi was going to go? It was a very dangerous place, Iran, at that time, you have to understand. There's a movie about it? So one of the people that they decided to bring, he was the chief rabbi of Mexico then. His name was Rabbi Abraham Mordechai Hirschberg. And that was his name. Rabbi Abraham Mordechai Hirschberg, and he was the emissary to go to Iran to see how the Jewish hostages were. So they didn't want him to stay with the Jewish community of Iran, because they said, how do we know, secrets, whatever else. He has to stay in a hotel by himself, annexed. But then he said Shabbat, and he has to spend Shabbat there, so I have to spend Shabbat with the minyan. So they agreed. So what did they do? They let him stay by the Jewish community. He inspired the people, and he was there, and it was a great chizuk, because the Jewish people were afraid. Already 25% fled, and eventually another 50% were going to go. Now there's 20,000 Jews left in Tehran now, which is the largest Jewish population in a Muslim country. That's another story on its own. That's another chapter. So here you have that the Jewish community was hosting this rabbi, and on Sunday, the next day, there was going to be a massive 1 million-man rally to go outside in the streets and listen to the drasha of the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah gives his 1 million people. Imagine, they're all listening, and he's giving a speech. You know, it's the revolution. He's like speaking, and it's important, and it's in a very important speech. It was broadcast all over the world. And part of the broadcast was that during his broadcast, he said a prayer, a tefillah. It must be Allah Akbar or whatever. Everybody bowed down. Everybody bowed. The only person who didn't bow down was this Rabbi Hirschberg. Now that's a death penalty. We're in the middle of the revolution. You stand, you defy the Ayatollah in public. So what happened? They had running right away a person with an imam with a red face. He goes to him. The Ayatollah wants to speak to you. So he didn't know what to expect. They go to the Ayatollah. It was a 6-minute walk. It felt like 6 hours, they say. They finally go to the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah looks at them. Why don't you bow down? I'm a Jew. I believe in the Torah of Moshe. We don't bow down. The Ayatollah looks at him and he says, your other Christian friends, they bow down right away. They're liars. You're a man of truth. And I respect that. So they saw that at least they were on good terms. So they said, can we request a 5-minute meeting with the Ayatollah? He said yes. Next Sunday came, he stayed. And as they were going, there was a planned assassination against the Ayatollahs in the city of Qom. there was a planned assassination against the Ayatollah. So understandably, he was very perturbed. So they saw that they weren't going to get anything out of the meeting. So they said, could we have another meeting? So like the story of the Megillah, right? one meeting, they push up to the next meeting. The next meeting, they come along, and they say, you know, Shah, we want, the Ayatollah, we want to have a good, the Jews want to have a good standing in the community, but there are three difficult things that you put upon us. Number one, you don't let us wear talit. Why didn't he let them wear talit? Because the talit had blue stripes. And that symbolizes the Zionist entity, the Israeli flag. So they explained it's nothing to do with the Zionist entity. It has to do with that we're just wearing, that we have blue on our talit. Ayatollah heard that. He says, okay, request granted. Second request they asked, that Slichot is at 4 in the morning they have to start, but there's a curfew until 5. So, granted, anybody who has the talit will know he's Jewish, no problem. And number 3, by the Muslims, they're not allowed to have any alcohol. And we need to have wine for kiddush, arba kosot. So he says, okay, 1 for every shul. No, that's not enough. 1 for every 10 people. Granted. And that was the meeting. So because it's Rabbi Hirschberg, and that started a relationship between the Ayatollah and the Jewish people, that they're able to survive till today under that rulership, and it's only they're against Israel, but they're not necessarily against the Jews. I know personally people that when I lived in Los Angeles, they moved from Iran to Los Angeles. They didn't like it so much, they returned to Iran. Yeah. They say, oh, it's very good life over there, and Iran. They're crazy. That they could be trapped there in a second, but till today they have a nice relationship. There's many more Jews in Iran than there is in Morocco. There's many more Jews in here. Yeah. There's 3,000 to 4,000 Jews left in Morocco. How many are there in Iran? 20,000? Of course, that's what I'm saying. That's the point. We even have Jews in the government, right? We even have Jews in the government.
What do you think about the Spanish citizenship they're offering us? Isn't that a bit of money,
They're down on their economy. That's why they want to do it. Every time it happens, they go down on their economy. They want to bring the Jews in, and then we go in. They're going to kick us out. We don't need their favors. Now, this is the first story. The conviction of this Rabbi Hirschberg. He knew what he was doing right. He did it, and it carried him through. Second story. I have a friend of mine, an acquaintance. No, I'm not very close with him, but I know him. As an acquaintance. His name is Mr. Cohen. Mr. Cohen's a prominent lawyer in America, in Los Angeles. Mr. Cohen, yeah, it's a common name, Baruch Cohen. And he went for he studied very hard to become a lawyer, and he finally graduated, and he was ready to go to the top law firms to be able to get a position. So he was very nervous. He took all his tests, and he was, and finally he got interviews, and he got an interview by one of the top law firms that he wanted to go to. But he said, what should he wear his kippah? Should he not wear his kippah? If you wear your kippah, a lot of things they weren't gonna, it was like forget about it. So he said, you know what? I'm not gonna wear my kippah. So he walks into the office for the interview. He steps in, and he sees a person behind the desk with a big kippah and some teeth. And he looks at him, Mr. Cohen, funny, it says that you're Orthodox. So he looks at him, he says, well, I was nervous whether, I should take this or that. Mr. Cohen, let me tell you something. We're a law firm that's looking for leaders, not for followers. Thank you very much. Goodbye. And he didn't get the job, but what he did get was a lesson for life that he was going to be from then on a person who followed his convictions instead of just following the world. And he became subsequently a very, very good lawyer. And not only that, he became a very big proponent a fighter for Israel and for the Jewish people, and he'd always stick up for them in public, very vocally, And very strongly, all because of that lesson he said he learned by the law firm that day.
What about for business purposes, Rabbi?
Could be not. That's not the point. You see, that's not the point. The point is that he learned from there that even when he doesn't go and meet an Orthodox person, he will wear his kippah because he feels that it's more important to show people that he has convictions and he believes in what he's doing. Now, I'm not saying that you should go inside in middle of Tehran wearing your kippah, or in middle of a dangerous neighborhood, or in France nowadays. Yeah, I'm saying that if you're in a country that you want to hide your convictions, or do you want to be proud of your convictions? And he learned from there that he's proud to be who he is, and he's not going to just change his convictions because of other things, other people. That's story number 2. Story number 3.
In the Torah, we have an example. When Moshe wanted Derech HaMelech, right?
Yeah.
When he asked the king, when a judge passed, can you just let us go? The king was thinking, but then the people, I don't know, they convinced them and whatever. He said, oh, come, we mingle with your children, we'll do business with you. That's when the king says, out of my place.
Right.
Right? Very similar situation.
Right. So that's a lesson always we keep on seeing in history, that people think that they're going to gain in the long run. We don't gain respect that way. We lose respect because we're not true to our convictions. And the third story is that I'm sure some of you have heard of this story, was that there is an airplane that vanished. And still today we don't know where this airplane is. In Malaysia, they think that maybe it's hidden somewhere, or it's down in the Indian Ocean. Nobody knows where it is. It's a mystery. Some people think it's aliens that took it. We don't know. Yeah. Now, it's always the Jews. Now, there was one person that was supposed to be on that flight that didn't happen to be on that flight, because there was a travel agent from Australia that was booking a flight for this person. This person was a religious travel agent. To him, Shabbat was a non-negotiable. And the person he was selling this ticket to was a Jew who, for him, it was negotiable a little bit. So he said, make me a trip from Beijing to Kuala Lumpur. That way he could go connecting right afterwards. She said, I'm sorry, it's Shabbat. Please read. He said, listen, you can't order it by me. Go by somewhere else. I said, fine. But he saw that this Jew really meant what he said. So what did he do? He called back and he said, you know what? I'll stay in Beijing for Shabbat. It's on kosher food. And he stayed in Beijing. That was the flight. Not real estate, travel agent. Travel agent was a religious Jew, and he was dealing with another Jew. He can't help another Jew violate Shabbat. In other words, let's say you can't make a Jew help a Jew in an Avirah.
That's right.
And this Jew knew that. So because of his conviction, he said, please reconsider. I can't do it. You want to go to somewhere else, you can go to somewhere else. But you can't ask me to do such a thing.
Right.
And he didn't. And that other Jew called him up after. He says, thank you for saving my life because of your conviction. Because of your conviction. And really, this is the lesson that we see from Mordechai to Esther. Mordechai was convinced what he was doing was the right thing. Everybody was screaming at him. Who do you think you are? You're putting us all in danger. Now Haman wants to kill all of us, and it's all because of you. And little did they know that Haman would have wanted to kill him anyway, and it was all part of the master plan to get Mordechai there and from Esther. But we don't look at the big picture. What we have to be true is to our beliefs, and when we do that, we're able to eliminate Amalek, which is the gematria once again of Safek, of putting it down. So Bezat Hashem, these words should be Lo'idin Neshama of Mitzot, Prosper, Ber Shalom, She'ez Yichu Baruch. Amen.